Hey, welcome back to Everyday Christian Living, where we want you to feel like you're a part of our family. Well, today we're doing a little Valentine's Day special, and what we want to share with you is just a little something odd about maybe our first time we met. So, you often hear about people saying something about, their spouse. Well, the way we met, maybe they bumped into them at a restaurant and knew, hey, you're the one. Or maybe it's like one of those cases where somebody will say, well, I couldn't stand them when I first met them, and then they ended up falling in love or whatever. It could be like one of those Hallmark type movies. Well, I want to share with you our experience. There's probably not too many that happened the way ours did. Now, my name is Joey. This is Holly, my wife, and here's how we first met, okay? It was actually something we didn't know about till years later. When I started school, parents could take their kids and stay with them the first day because it was obviously their first day being away from, their parents and so on. So when I went to school, my first grade, there was a boy in my classroom that was her brother. And so I didn't know it at the time, but I would end up playing a part in her life that way. Anyway, okay, so that was the very first grade. All right, years went on, and I lived in a city that our cities that we lived in was about 30 miles apart. And my family attended a church in our city, and her family, they had a church in their city. So these churches was like 30 miles apart. Okay, well, the churches a lot of times would visit each other. So in the process of time, over the meetings and people attending each other's churches, we ended up meeting. And so as kids, we knew each other. We got to know each other. Well, we became best friends, didn't we? Best friends. Say yes. See, that was her way of saying yes. But we became best friends, and all that. And we would call each other on the phone, talk to each other, tell us, well, how's your day? Okay, well, about things like that. Well, one day we eventually decided to ask her out, and I didn't know about asking her out on a date because we was best friends. But we ended up going out, and then we decided maybe we could be better than best friends. So we ended up getting married, and so we've been married now 35 years. Okay, but now here's where we first met. Along the line, when we was dating and all, and actually started dating, her mother was sharing the story. She said, do you know that first day of school? Now, I was in school, first grade. My mother took me, okay? Her mother took her brother who was in my class. So my mother was standing against the wall, and that's the way the mothers would do. They would line up against the wall beside of her mother, and because her brother was in my class. And do you know, her mother was holding my wife, who was 2 years old at the time. So I was in first grade. She was 2 years old, and she was being held by her mother over against the wall. I never knew that one day I would marry that little baby over there at 2 years old. Now, here's the question I want to ask her. What did you think when you looked over and you saw me? Did you think like, boy, he's one hunk of a guy?
No, I sure didn't. I didn't know what was going on.
She didn't know what was going on. And guess what? I didn't tell any of them little first graders, you see that little 2-year-old over there? One day I'm going to marry her. I didn't do that either. But over the process of time, we did get married, and we've been married ever since. And so that's just a little oddity. There's probably not too many people. There's sometimes people will have stories where, that was actually me that you met that day at that place or whatever. Well, this is sort of one of those ways, because her mother was telling us the story. Said, Joey, she said, I brought her to the school with me, and I was holding her in my arms over against the wall. And again, we didn't know it, but look at us now. So here's the question I want to ask you. Did you meet some way like this? Was it some sort of an odd way? If it was, put it in the comments. Let us know how you met. Because, as I said, over the process of time, through church, we ended up meeting, and then we became best friends. So it's sort of funny sometimes how things work out, but we felt like God had a hand in it. And you look back now and you see some of these things. If you have some way that you met your spouse that you want to share, put it in the comments section. But happy Valentine's Day to each and every one of you, and all of you spouses. We hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. And I do want to say, if you want to check out some of our Bible teaching and messages and singing and this kind of thing, check out our other channel, which is Wings as Eagles Ministry. We have a daughter, and she's on that other channel a lot of times playing music, and of course she helps us run it. But this channel here, we're going to try to post things that will help you get to know us better, shorts, things that we do, get out and do. So make sure you subscribe to this channel if you're new. Everyday Christian living. We want to show you that it can be fun living a life for Christ. Again, don't forget to put in the comments how you met your spouse, if there was any way you want to share. And we're going to be looking for you on our next video.